Alright friends, I know it's been a long time since you've heard from us. We've actually been on the road full time now for 1 month.
Today, 1 month today.
And so we wanted to give you guys a quick update, let you kind of know what's going on, where we're at. Obviously, just like everybody else in the world, our plans have changed. You know, if we had picked ourselves, we probably would not have chosen to launch during the middle of a pandemic. But that's the way that the Lord worked it out. And so that's why you haven't really heard from us, because just like you, we've been sheltering in place basically. What we did is once everything kind of started locking down across the nation, we found a campsite that we could stay at long term, and we've basically just parked. And so we haven't really been traveling around and doing a lot. We've been sitting in one place going on now 3 weeks, and plan to be here until the shelter in place orders begin to lift and we can begin to travel as we had hoped. And so since we've been sitting here, we haven't been doing a lot, filming a lot, but we did want to reach out and just give you guys a quick update, and we want to do that Worthington style.
That's right. So first of all, we just want to say that we are just, our hearts and our prayers have gone out to all the people who are severely affected by the COVID-19. We're in a small city, a very small rural town, but we keep an eye on all the things that are going on around the nation. And though we feel really insulated, we know that many people are not. And so some of the things you're going to see are beautiful and exciting, and we have had a big blessing by being where we are, but we know that that's not the case for a lot of people. So we just want to be mindful to tell you that we're praying for all the folks that are affected, and we are just thankful for all the people who are on the front lines, who are working really hard and ensuring that people stay safe and well. So thank you for that, and know that though we'll have some lighthearted things, our hearts are still very much connected to those who are struggling, and praying for you guys, and hoping that as everybody does, that we'll all be able to connect more personally, more often from now on. So as far as the Worthington updates, one of the things we do at our house every single night around the dinner table is we play a game called Highs and Lows. And so it's a way for us to connect with each other about what's really on our hearts that are highs, what's been really good that day, and what's been pretty bad that day, just a low that has kind of been on our hearts. And that's just been a way for us as parents to connect with our kids without saying, how was your day? We would get fine. But when we ask about a high or a low, it really helps for all of us to process our day, to think through not just kind of the good things, but also the things that are on our hearts. And that helps us as parents, and also as a married couple, to stay kind of in tune with what's on the heart, what's burdening, and what's blessing the people in our family. So what we're going to do is, on our 1 month update, we're going to give you the Worthington style highs and lows. So we're going to share 2 highs each and 2 lows each of what's been a real blessing and what's kind of been a burden to us. So what's been your high so far? What's one of yours?
Well, I would say that my first high in this first month of being on the road full time has been being able to say yes more. And that's been a really great thing, meaning that when the kids have stopped and asked, hey Dad, can we go throw the football? Or hey Dad, can we go fishing? Hey Dad, can we go for a walk? And when Francis has said, hey, do you want to come with me to walk the dogs? Do you want to sit outside and have a cup of tea? I have been able to say yes so much more. Our lives before had gotten so crazy busy with so many different things that there was just not enough time sometimes to say yes. You just had to say no a lot more. And that's been one of my highs for sure, is being able to say yes to the kids and to Francis a lot more.
All right, so my high for this month would be just being outdoors. So I am absolutely a nature lover. I have a minor in biology because I just love everything about nature, about God's creation. So I have a huge, huge draw to being outside, to hiking, to rock climbing, to being on the water. And one of the neat things about being where we are is that we're on a lake. And I grew up visiting lakes and riding on boats and fishing and jumping off cliffs and all of that. And so we have been able to really enjoy some of that here. And so we've been taking, there's a national forest really close here. So though we're not visiting any national parks, which is kind of sad, we have had a national forest right here close to us. And we have been taking all kinds of waterfall hikes. We've been walking our dogs more. Our dogs kind of just went outside. We've been walking our dogs more. The kids have been riding bikes. We have just really enjoyed being kind of off our screens and outside in nature together, and just really exercising more and getting more vitamin D, sunshine therapy, especially in this really difficult time where so much on the news is so scary and really depressing at times. It's nice to be able to spend some beautiful time outdoors. And you know what? The great thing is that the things that we're doing, hiking, kayaking, paddleboarding, swimming, and all of that are really good social distancing, pandemic approved activities. So that's been really great that we've been able to really be able to do those things, even though it's not maybe in the places we want it to be. It's doing the activities that we already love. So that's been a big high for me.
My second high, I would say, and this sounds pretty strange, is actually the shelter-in-place order. Originally, we had planned to be moving along at a pretty good clip, moving every 4 or 5 days, visiting family, seeing some things. And the shelter-in-place order has obviously just caused us to park here in one spot and really live in the camper. And that's been really good because I have been able to do a lot of things to the camper. Some of them, quite minor little modifications, putting up a rack here, changing a towel holder there. Some of them have been pretty major things with little equipment pieces here that we really do need this when we thought we didn't. And it's given us an opportunity to really soak in the trailer and figure those things out, and then also to order them, to run into Home Depot and get those pieces, and then to actually do the modifications. And so even though it's kind of odd to say, I would say that sheltering in place has actually been a blessing for us. I think now when we do hit the road, when we're going to see the national parks and we are moving every 3, 4, 5 days, we'll be a lot more prepared and settled into the trailer to be able to do that.
All right, so my last high is going to be a sense of community, which sounds really strange during a pandemic where you have to be socially distant. How are we finding community? And being in the ministry for 13 years at one church, we had such an incredible sense of community. Our church was our life. It was our friendships. It was not just our job, but it was our recreation, our fun, our family. And so that was really scary to me launching out, is how would we have a sense of community when we're moving all the time? Well, God has just seen fit to put us in one place for a while. So even though we've been a little bit distant from folks, it hasn't stopped us from meeting people and staying at a safe distance, but having conversations, learning where people are from, meeting other full-time families that are around here, connecting with other Thousand Trails members, which is what we're a part of, and finding out just ways and tips that they have, apps that they've been using, groups that they've joined. We've actually joined a few full-time family sites where we're going to be able to connect even with our own campgrounds. They have little chat groups, and so I'm a part of that. So even though maybe haven't met everybody in this particular campground, we're all connecting on things that we need and different tips that we have on what kind of mobile service do you use, or what kind of booster, just different things like that. So even though we've had to be distant, we've actually found a great sense of community here. And part of that is because we didn't really know any other families that did RVing, especially any that did it full time. And so when we're here, we're kind of among friends, and we're not the crazy people. We're kind of the norm. And so that's been really fun. And for our kids to have a sense of community with other kids that are just like them, who have traveled around, who've kind of sold their home, left their family and friends, and are doing what they're doing. And that's been really neat to see, because one of our kids' biggest fears, I think all of ours, was leaving our friends and family. And so for God to give us a time where we're put for a while has really brought forth a really neat sense of community, not just for Jay and I, but for our children as well. And so that's been a lot of fun and really a huge high for us, just learning, connecting in the way that we can during this really difficult season. And I would encourage you to find ways, because it is hard, but there is community that can still be found online, digitally, but also from a safe distance with people that you haven't had a chance or the time to get to know. So that's been a high for me.
As far as lows, obviously it hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows. There's been some cloudy days and some rough waters as well. And so as far as the lows go, I would say even though my last high was a shelter in place, I would have to say also my first low is the shelter in place. Just because we had worked really hard to kind of plan things out and had every reservation made for the next 3 months, and every campsite planned, time with family scheduled, and now all of that has gone up in the air. And so I would say that's definitely a low, that we haven't been able to spend that time with family that we were hoping to right out of the gate, and we haven't been able to see some of the things that we were hoping to here in the first month even of being full-time. So that's definitely been a low.
Yeah. I would say that my low is stepping back in time. So imagine that you're back in college and you visit the laundromat to do your laundry. You have a stove that is barely big enough to fit a teeny weeny cookie sheet, that you don't have a washer and dryer in your house, and you don't have a dishwasher. Welcome to the world of RV living. And so that has been a challenge to learn, because we lived in a very large house and we had 2 dishwashers, 2 sets of washing machines and dryers. We had a big convection oven. We had a gas range and a huge commercial refrigerator. It was easy to cook, to clean, and to keep a house with a lot of children. Well, you see, we haven't really gotten rid of a lot of kids, and we have dogs and turtles, and we have most of our kids are here with us at times, and the girls off and on in their seasons. And so it has been a low to learn how to live life simply. That's a blessing, but it's also really hard and a big learning curve. And so laundry, we take it in a little pop-up collapsible wagon, and we drag it up to the laundromat, and there's 2 wash machines and 2 dryers. And when you have 7 or 8 people that you're doing laundry for, gracious, that is the challenge. And the dryers don't work so good, so we have to do multiple loads of that. So it's just like most of us used to live, right? I mean, we've all had those times, we've all lived those lives. We just didn't imagine in our mid-40s we'd be like visiting that again. So not having a dishwasher and having a lot of people eating every single day, that's been a challenge. Cooking for a lot of people in an oven that doesn't fit a full-size cookie sheet in it has been a challenge with 1 rack. That's been a challenge. And then trying to keep up with laundry and sheets and towels and all the things you can imagine, that's a challenge in a tiny 360-foot space with no real amenities like that. So I would say that's been a low for me. I'm learning, and I'm sure it won't be as big of a low, but in the first month, it's been quite the big learning curve for me.
My second low is kind of related to my first one, I guess, in that even though we are having a shelter here in place and we didn't get to see family, those things are bad. The other part is that I'm a pretty big planner. I'm a big administrative gifts has just been part of my life for forever, and so I really like to have things planned out, and we had that done. We had everything literally for the first 4 months of our expedition planned out, every reservation made, every route planned, every sightseeing trip planned, and now all that's up in the air. And not only is it up in the air being delayed, but it's up in the air as to, is it even the route even gonna work now? Are we gonna run out of time seasonally to get to some of the places that we wanted to? And so we're really just kind of in limbo, and that's always difficult for me, is to not have a plan. And so that's been my second low, is just having all of our plans kind of dashed and having to restart that process, something that we literally spent several months working on.
Yeah. That is hard. We both like to plan, so it's definitely been hard on both of us, and just kind of being sad on some of those really kind of iconic things that we were hoping to do that, they might have to wait, or they might have to be put somewhere else. So that is hard. I think that's a low for both of us. But I would say if I was going to pick another low, obviously it is our big girls not being with us. So we had some plans to visit them more often and more frequently and spend bigger chunks of time with them, because we had some campgrounds in our local area that were just really beautiful and on the lake, and we were going to go for longer periods of time, really checking in. We had some really fun things planned. We had a great opportunity to go to the Fox and to take our girls. And so we had some really special things planned for them and with them, and that's really not been able to happen. So they're not where we are. They're several hours away from us. So though we've had the blessing of getting to see them a little bit, it's been difficult just to kind of navigate a pandemic without your children with you. I like to have all of my kids together. I want to be able to check on them, to know how they're feeling, and know every sniffle or every sneeze or every cough. And I've just really had to trust the Lord. And where his has been out of control for route planning, I'm a pretty good hover mother, and so just releasing that control of my daughters and really just releasing that to the Lord and trusting him with their health. My daughters had still been working for a while, and just really nervous about her being out and about and still at work and in some very fragile areas with her job. And so that's been really hard. That's been a low, just to not wade through something so unknown and something a little bit scary at times, not all together. And that's a new thing for us. We are very close-knit as a family. We do everything together. And so to navigate something as life-changing as a pandemic apart has been really hard for all of us. And so that would be my low, is just kind of learning to trust the Lord. And that's a good thing. Good lessons to learn, but they come with a sacrifice. And it's again, like I said at the other one, it's a learning curve, even spiritually, to be able to trust God in the middle of something that we feel so out of control, not just in our route, but in our own family. It's been a challenge. All right, so that's the highs and lows Worthington style. So it's just like you've been at the table with us, sitting around as family and friends, just sharing our hearts. And so that's kind of what's been going on for the past month. But the question is, where do we go from here? Where do we go in the channel? What are we going to be putting out? Because we're here. We're here until April the 30th at the very least. We're a member of Thousand Trails, and they have been amazing to really allow us to stay in place and to really abide by the mandates put out by the president and the task force. And so we're going to take advantage of that. We are going to be staying placed for till at least April the 30th and maybe longer. It's changing every day. So we started to talk about what would we do now? What does that look like? Because we had made a commitment that we would not show footage of where we are and really talk about where we are currently, just for security reasons, and also just to give us some distance and give us some time to edit and things like that. So we're going to be putting ourselves in place. So what do we do? So we thought we would answer the 3 most common questions that we get all the time. So whether we're walking our dogs or whether we're meeting new families, the questions are always the same. And so we've been answering them over and over again over texts and comments and messages and things like that. So we thought we would just take some time and we would answer these questions, take a couple of looks back. And so 3 things that we get asked all the time are...
So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be answering each of these main 3 in a video. And so the first one that we get all the time is why. Why would you do this? Why would you leave everything and take 6 of your kids and move into a trailer and travel around the country? So we're going to talk about how that happened. The second one is, how do you even do that? How do you fit comfortably, not just for a weekend of camping, but for life?
Right.
How do you fit that many people into a camper and not kill each other? And then
we're working on that.
And then finally is what did you do to prepare? Like, how do you even get ready for launching out in something like this? And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to look back and talk about how this started, why we did this. We're going to look at kind of how we do this in the trailer, how we fit in here, and then finally, what are some of the things that we did in order to prepare for this launch out into this adventure of full timing.
Yeah, because see, a lot of those questions are just good to finding you're crazy, whatever that is. So just asking why, like, why are you doing what you're doing? What is it that you really have a passion for, and why aren't you doing it? And what could you be doing to find a crazier part of your life? And then also, just how are you going to do that? How are you going to get from point A to point B? It doesn't have to be full-time RVing. It can be anything, but whatever that crazy is for you, you got to ask the question, like, how are we going to get to that point? And then what the way you can prepare, coming up with steps, because it really sounds epic and exciting, but you know what, it takes planning to do this, and it doesn't just happen. It happens by just answering those 3 questions. And so we thought for ourselves, those are questions we had to answer, and it's ones we've been living out, the why, the how, and the what. Those are the questions we're still living out, we're still answering, we're still trying to figure it out. And so I would encourage you, whatever that is that you're looking to do, and you're kind of sheltered in place right now, so this is a good time to look at what your norm is and to say, is that the normal I still want? I mean, when all this is lifted, do I still want to live this normal? Is this what I want to live, or is there something else? Maybe it's spending more time with your kids. Maybe it's stepping out into a new hobby that you've experienced and you've been able to spend a little bit of time with. So those questions are questions we can ask anytime, anywhere, any place, and this is a great time to kind of reevaluate, because you're home and you've had more time with your family and friends just like we have. You've also had time to maybe investigate a few things that you just always wanted to do, but you thought you didn't have time to do. And then you can be thinking, what is the crazy? What do I want my life to look like after this pandemic is lifted? What is the normal we're going to go back to? And maybe I could step out in just one crazy way, in faith, with my family, and in fun. Maybe there's just one thing. And so maybe as we investigate that, you could do it with us and think about whatever it is you are looking to step out into, and the normal that maybe doesn't need to be so normal. Maybe you need to find a little bit of crazy yourself. So join us over the next couple of weeks as we investigate these questions, and you start to ask the same questions of yourself, of your family, of your faith, and your definition of what fun would be.
So here's a little look at some of the things that we've been doing, just so that you don't have to sit here and listen to us talk the whole time. Here's some video of some of the things that we've been doing over the last couple weeks, just to give you a taste of what's coming in the next few weeks, and just be on the lookout for those 3 questions to be answered in the next 3 weeks.
What you wanna do today? I said, hey, what you wanna do today? Sometimes you choose to have a good day. Look at your blues and turn the other way. Ignore the news for just a few. Say no more gray, I'm okay, I'll pick a getaway. Lace up my shoes to go and meet babe. We'll rendezvous at that cafe. Girl, we can do whatever you say. Go catch a matinee, pray for some sunny rays. I'm alright baby, would you be my tag along? We can meet our friends in the mall at the Cinnabon. Bet you never thought that any day could be fun. Bet you never heard a ukulele on a rap song. Finger stepping, cause you know I feel like rapping. And I see the toes are tapping and all of the kids are clapping. Today it is meant for laughing, and do it what you imagine. So buckle your belt and strap in your dream, you gon' make it happen, Kevin. This day was marvelous, and when the sun sets we will tell the noche hola. Let's open happiness, cause you know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We got the whole day and the night too. So what do you say? Get the whole crew. We catching views like a kite over dunes. Think the man in the moon might get jealous of you. Hey, I got Juanitas in the high shoes. My señorita, you're who I choose. Following tunes like we looking for clues. So the music is through. If I'm running on fumes, so just give me a boost. Sounding like the pattern of youth when I step in the booth. Everybody feels fresh when you give them the truth. So go and catch your breath, cause we got work to do. I said, oh, the sky was so blue today. Any grayscale ghost got chased away. Blue turns to gold, but everybody stays. There's still songs that the DJ needs to play. Say, this day was marvelous, and when the sun sets we will tell the noche hola. Let's open happiness, cause you know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Come enjoy the party, everybody. Hey buddy, put down your iPhone or Motorola. We got the confetti, keep it steady. I'm ready for some of that sweet Coca-Cola. Get the people singing from Thailand to England, Libya to India to Minnesota. We gon' live it up, so pour it up, pour it up. Pour me some of that Coca-Cola. This day was marvelous, and when the sun sets we will tell the noche hola. Let's open happiness, cause you know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. 'Cause you know that tonight is as sweet as Coca-Cola.
So there's a quick look at some of the things that we've been doing, just a taste of what's coming. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on these 3 big questions over the next 3 weeks. And then don't forget to go to findyourcrazy.org and you can check all of our social media from there. And we'll see you in a week.
Bye.